Kelsey. Welcome back to my channel. Today is just an average summer day here at the farm. For the most part, every day I get ready, try to fix my hair a little, put some makeup on, and get somewhat dressed, not just in leggings. I definitely feel the most productive when I am fully dressed and with some makeup on. And I am making my 3 drinks. Does anyone else frequently have more than just one drink throughout the day? I start with water, and then I have coffee, and also my mom just juiced a whole watermelon with some lime. It's so wonderful and refreshing. So I'm also drinking that with a little bit of salt for electrolytes. And I got my little early bird here with me. I love having them in the kitchen with me where I spend the majority of my time. And we're just getting our day started here. Okay, and I have to say I am a coffee drinker who likes my coffee pretty well white. I like it for it to taste just like the creamer that I'm putting in it. But within the last year or so, I've switched to half and half with just a little bit of maple syrup, and it tastes so good. It tastes literally just like the fancy coffee creamers that you can get at the store, but much better ingredients and much more cost effective because you can use the half and half for other things and always have maple syrup. So I'm going to make some sourdough waffles for breakfast. As you just saw, I have been writing down recipes in this cookbook that my grandma actually wrote for me, which is one of my most treasured possessions, because she wrote all of her recipes in it in her handwriting, and it was just like a blank notebook. And now I have started writing the recipes that I use the most frequently to reference, which I really like because my kids then don't see me constantly looking at my phone, which I know I'm looking at a recipe, but they just see me looking at my phone. So I really like that they get to see me looking in a book while I'm cooking. And yeah, and I also write little notes in there for my daughter to see in the future. Also just gave my son his vitamins. We use Mary Ruth's Organics. For sure the probiotic, use that all year long. Love it. It really has helped my children so much with going potty. And then we use the liquid multivitamin for the most part as well. In the winter, we do bump it up with vitamin C, zinc, vitamin D and K, plus elderberry. Okay, so my daughter loves donuts. So I've got the little donut maker and the waffle maker going. It's super easy just to pull that excess batter out from around the donuts. You'll see it. But yeah, love the sourdough waffle recipe. It is 1 cup sourdough starter or discard, 2/3 cup milk, 2 tablespoons of oil. I use extra virgin olive oil, 1 tablespoon of sugar, 2 large eggs, 1 cup of flour, and 1 teaspoon of baking soda. What I really love about this recipe too is that it makes extra for our family, so we have leftovers. I always try to make sourdough pancakes or waffles at the beginning of the week, and while I'm videoing this, it was actually a Monday, so it works out well that we have some leftover waffles for a quick breakfast on another day. threw together my everyday bread recipe. Super easy, just throwing it in the bread machine, and it will knead then and rise for about an hour and a half in the dough setting. I have shared this recipe on a previous video, so you can find the video either on my channel or and I'll link it in the description box below. I also love getting my diffuser going first thing in the morning, especially after cooking breakfast. I love the citrusy smells in the summer and especially in the morning when waking up. So I have grapefruit, bergamot, and lime going. Such a good, clean summer smell. Now I am just throwing dinner into the crock pot. It is a pork shoulder that I had pulled out of the freezer the night before. Pretty simple meal, but it's gonna help me so much later because after nap time, we go outside and we stay outside until it is dark. So this definitely makes it easier on me to not feel like I have to get back in the house to finish dinner. Because the kids are usually very dirty at that point. So coming back in, I have to bathe them and then try to cook dinner as well. So very thankful for the crock pot. Okay, so my husband just got back from raking hay and we are headed out on our little before nap time walk. I love to get him some fresh air before he takes his nap. And now he is down for his nap, and this little mudroom area has been driving me nuts. Such a simple cleanup, easy 5 to 10 minutes in such an area that has just been driving me crazy for like weeks now. So today I am taking the time to just slow down and actually clean it up, kind of declutter the shoes that have accumulated. I try to keep just the shoes we use every day in this area, but so it was nice to get it decluttered and cleaned up. As we came in from our walk, the bread machine was going off that the dough setting was finished. So here I am just moving the dough into the bread pan. I don't do any type of fancy detailing to it because it is just our everyday bread. And here I am making my husband some haymaker's punch. It's also called switchel sometimes. It is basically like lemonade with some ginger and some apple cider vinegar. It's a great source of vitamin C and high in potassium, and also really good for electrolytes. So I like to make this for him when it's extremely hot outside. His love language is acts of service, so he really feels the love when I do just simple things like this for him. The dishes, always the dishes. As a homemaker, I just accept it that we have so many dishes to do because we bake and we cook so much. So here I am just being very grateful that I have all of these dishes to do. And I hope that you can kind of have a positive spin to motivate you to get the dishes done, get the sink cleared out. It feels so good afterwards. Once the sink is cleared, I will begin working on cleaning our Berkey, which we use to filter our water. I love our Berkey. We've had it probably 4 years, and we have replaced the filters one time, which can kind of be costly because I've read where people can go 5 years without having to replace their filters, and we've already done it once. But I noticed a difference in taste, and then I did like the red dye test and they weren't working, so then I bought new ones. And then I learned that you are supposed to prime your filters every time you wash them. So that is what I'm doing here. So I am just trying to spread awareness that when you clean your Berkey, you have to prime the filters. maybe you probably already know that. I should have known it. But it will keep your filters working much longer. And to prime them, it's what I'm doing here. You just turn the water on very lightly after you've given them a good scrub with like the non-scratch sponge, and then you hold it under the water until you start seeing all of the little pores, releasing water. It's pretty obvious once you see it. The first one I do, you can't see it that well, but the second one you can see a little better. Okay, now nap time is over, so we are outside reading some books. I always strive to read at least once a day to my kids. I know it is so beneficial to them, and it's a good time to slow down. Then we hopped in the car to follow my husband to the field that he raked because he was getting ready to bale it. And then when we got back home, we walked over to our peach tree and picked the one little peach that was growing on it. Pretty exciting. We started a little orchard of 2 peach trees, 2 apple trees, a cherry, and a pear when we bought the farm 5 years ago. We also headed out to the garden and harvested all of these purple pods. They're basically green beans because once you cook them, they change from purple to green. And then we also have just regular green beans too, so I'm just washing those up. And I will use some for our dinner to go with the pork, and then also preserve some. I love to serve fresh bread and butter with dinner. I feel like it's a familiar part of my kids' plate, and sometimes makes them be a little bit more brave to try the different things that's on there as well. After dinner, we went back outside to feed the animals and just look at the sky. The kids are now bathed. I'm putting them to bed, starting their diffusers. I always diffuse cedar wood and lavender in their diffusers every night and run the air doctor. My daughter used to snore terribly, and ever since diffusing cedar wood and lavender and having that air doctor running, it has made such a difference. She has very large tonsils, and I think something about the dust being in the air and the air doctor cleaning the air definitely helps. And now I am using my vacuum sealer food saver to preserve all of the green beans that I have cleaned and prepped, and that I will then freeze and use this winter. A lot of fun was had in here today, but a good refresh is always needed. I feel like my kids play so much better when everything is cleaned back up for the next day. I just recently got these open shelves and I absolutely love it. It's using vertical space. It's kind of Montessori with the open shelves and then being able to serve themselves. And now I have showered and I am getting out my coconut oil to put in about a tablespoon and kind of gargle it around in my mouth for about 30 minutes for oil pulling. And while I'm doing that, I'm also going to fold some laundry and watch the Andy Griffith Show. It is so funny. I highly recommend it. Thank you for watching. My name is Kelsey. I live on a small farm with my husband and 2 young children. I love to bake all things sourdough. I love to give off some cleaning motivation and work in the garden. We homeschool, we homestead, and I'd love to have you hang out. So please be sure to like and subscribe the video.